Hello and welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. How are you today? I'm Naomi and I'm really pleased that you could be here with me. This is a bit of an unplanned little card reading here. Last night I heard the news about Virginia Giuffre, who I hope I pronounced that right. I think I've probably butchered it. But poor Virginia was involved, apparently, allegedly, in a car accident. I found out last night and saw the photographs of her along with other people who have probably seen the same thing, the photographs of her allegedly in a hospital bed, and she's covered in bruises and she doesn't look very well at all. And the information that's been released with those photographs is something along the lines of, and I am paraphrasing from various sources, that Virginia was hit in her car by a school bus, reportedly doing about nearly 70 miles an hour or something. It was quite fast. And she has sustained an injury that's made her have kidney failure, and she's been told she's got 4 days to live. And she's asked to see her children for one last time. So that's really, really shocking. And then the news this morning, strangely, that I've just caught up on, says that the police say they, in that area, they say they don't have a record of a crash as such, and there was a report of a crash between a car and a bus, but there was like £1,000 worth of damage done to the car, and nobody was injured. And they also said that Virginia is not telling the people at the hospital, like the hospital workers, how she got her injuries. So it's a strange one, isn't it? It's very odd. And of course, with Virginia being the lady who blew the whistle on Epstein and Prince Andrew, and who was responsible in large part for bringing those two to justice, or bringing one of them to justice, I should say, brought his own justice, but getting justice for some of the victims, then I think we would be unusual if we didn't speculate, wouldn't we? It would be strange if we didn't think it was a bit of a coincidence. And I don't know. I'm just not sure at all what to think about this, because I don't know. I saw the bruises and I did think, because somebody said to me, somebody who's a nurse, said those bruises wouldn't look like that after that amount of time, when the crash was to when the photograph was. And there was various other things they said, like, why does she have the ECG stickers on when she's got earrings and she's got a bra on, and that would all be off. She'd be in a hospital gown. I don't know. It's easy to sort of look for things, isn't it? Which is why I decided to do a tarot spread on the situation. So I'm just shuffling the cards now. This is just going to be a quick reading, just to see if I can get a feel for what's going down on the Virginia Giuffre situation, which I believe has developed in Australia. Apparently the news that I was just watching was saying that she hadn't been living with her husband and kids, so they'd split up. So it sounds like she's having a bit of a hard time all around, and I think we've just got to pray that whatever the issue is that it resolves and Virginia's able to make a full recovery, because it feels like she's had to put up with a lot in life. So I'd like to know some details. Is this is Virginia being targeted? Is she being set up? Is there any truth in what's come out? What is the truth in what's come out? Has Virginia somehow been involved in this deception? Is what we're being told true? What is going on with Virginia? Okay, I'm going to lay out a Celtic cross spread. I'll take a photograph of this, and I'll put the photograph up there so that you can see as I'm working through it. I'm just going to lay the cards down, and then I'll move into the interpretation. This is very interesting. Right, okay, so the first two cards that I have here are the Three of Pentacles reversed and the Death card. The Three of Pentacles is often about learning a new skill, or learning a new way of doing things, and the Death card can sometimes symbolize a physical death, but often is the end of a cycle. So I'm going to look at these. I'm going to perhaps come back to these two. This is the underlying issues, and I'm seeing this Three of Pentacles reversed is like, it's like a recognition card. It's like learning a new skill, but it's also like being recognized for something you've been able to do. And it feels like there's the death of that recognition. So is this symbolizing that Virginia had perhaps finally escaped from the public eye, and it was the end of this cycle of this recognition for these events all the time? Or was she seeking more recognition and wasn't enjoying the fact that she's actually, been able to move away and start a relatively new, unbothered life as it was? I'm going to come back to that when I've read through the rest of the cards to see if I can make more sense of it. So the card that underlies the issue is the Strength card, and Strength talks about a gentle strength. It's not pushy like the Chariot, although the Chariot strangely has come out in this reading as well. So this card, this type of strength is about that gentle determination, and I think this is a reflection of the fact that Virginia seems to have been like quietly busy in the background for a long time, so she's kept the pressure gently on to move things forward, although she has retreated from the public eye quite a lot, and she isn't aggressively pursuing her the people who've wronged her, shall we say. She's not, as far as we know, wasn't aggressively pursuing any legal cases or anything like that, but there has always been her in the background, writing about it, speaking out about what happened to her. So I'm looking at that as this kind of card of gentle, quiet strength. Now, when we look at the card which crowns the issue, so this is her attitude and sort of what has motivated this little situation that's going on at the moment, and this is the Knight of Cups reversed. So the Knight of Cups reversed can indicate dishonesty, and it can indicate like an untruthful friend, somebody who's fraudulent, somebody who is not being honest about themselves or their situation. So yeah, this is quite interesting. So it's indicating that there is a dishonesty around this, and it's not what we think it is. And this is going to become more apparent as we move across the spread. And we've got other cards there, like the Devil, which is also tied to this dishonesty, this real feeling of the wool has been pulled over our eyes in some respect. I'm going to move to this card, which is the recent past. The recent past is the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and this feels like a turn in fortune. So it feels like I'm going to say that this is going to be Virginia, and it feels like recently she has felt like she's had to depend on others. She has perhaps suffered some kind of financial problems and has perhaps felt some instability materialistically. So it's like she's been shaken at the foundations, in fact turned on her head about these matters of security. This doesn't have to be cold hard cash. This can be, you know, like domestic arrangements, just material security, so belongings, so things that you own, obviously not all the little bits and pieces, but you know, your home, your car, things like that. So these big material things that we own, it feels like there's been an upset for some reason around that. Now, I'm still intrigued by the Death card and the Three of Pentacles in the middle, and it looks to me like there's been an end, there's been a death to recognition, there's been a part of this being able to push from the background, being strong in the background. There's been a part of that has died away, and that recognition is falling away, and it feels like Virginia's story has started to become buried, and it's started to become less sought after by the press, and less people have less of an appetite for it now. And I think this is reflected with that Death card, which is right in the middle. But I can't say that I'm not a little bit shocked to see that turn up with a reading where the person that I'm reading for, although she isn't here and I am reading without her permission, although the person I'm reading for is literally saying that she's on her deathbed, and the Death card comes out. So carrying on from there, we've got the near future. Now, the Devil card indicates some sort of, again, it can be deception, but it's also being tied to material things. It can be overindulging in the material things, a lot of negative energy. And I feel like this card combined with the Death card and this reversed Prince of Cups, as well as the reversed Queen of Pentacles, it's really indicating a rocky road where Virginia's fortunes have changed, and she's no longer able to just stay in the background gently pushing forward. It feels like that's been flipped on its head, and there's been a death of some part of that. It's like the public were no longer interested. There was something that was almost protecting her, and that something was removed. So it's really turned her security on the head. It could even have brought fears for her personal safety. But there is this sense of this dishonesty, untruthfulness around her. And I'm going to continue to read, and then we might come back to that. So moving across into the near future, we've got the Devil card. As I said, the Devil card it can be deception as well. It can also be violence, and it can be acts of violence committed upon people. So does that mean that the Knight of Cups could have been the fraudulent person who's committed the act of violence upon her? Or is Virginia the fraudulent person, and this sort of accident is a deception? Interesting. Let me continue to read. So moving across to the pillar side of my Celtic cross spread here. I forgot what it was called there because I was looking at that and trying to speak at the same time. So moving across to the pillar side of my Celtic cross, going to look at the card that really signifies Virginia at this moment, and it's like how she sees things at the moment and how she is looking at moving forward. And this is a card that it's talking about there's no opportunities open for her at the minute, and it's like her hands are tied and there's no progression forward. This card, when it's the right way up, the guy's looking over the horizon, so he's looking into the future. It does feel to me like there isn't the opportunity of that future. So I mean, I was initially suspicious when, you know, the news came out that Virginia said she only had 4 days to live, because it's like, how would you know that you've got 4 days, and how are you putting that on Instagram? I know that's probably really cynical of me, but now that I'm looking at this spread and I'm seeing this card in particular, I'm thinking, this is coming out like there's deception here, but I'm not convinced that it's from Virginia. I think she's been deceived by somebody for sure, but I don't think this accident has been a setup. I don't think it's been like it hasn't happened, because, you know, the police have said that there was only one accident between a car and a bus and there wasn't anybody hurt. So it's sort of ringing the bells of, well, did it even happen? And I'm really reading that, oh yeah, this accident happened. Was it an act of violence committed by this person though? And I think it's real, because I think she's got very few choices left. And that could indicate the position that she's actually in. If she is indeed sort of, you know, on a timer, really, a very short timer. I mean, I don't know how these things work. I'm not medical at all, and I have not a clue. If she has renal failure, is that where the 4 days come from? Is it because you only last 4 days? We can only hope that this card writes itself, so the energy of this card manifests in providing her opportunities, whether that is, you know, a donated organ or however they can fix this for her. But at the minute I read this really like she doesn't have any choices. So moving on to the environment around her is an interesting one, because it's talking about winning a battle. So I'm interpreting this to be that she's been involved in something that's led up to this for quite some time. So it feels like there's been this battle going on, but not sort of, not really visible. So it feels like underneath the devil here, sort of, because the devil can mask things. And it's like a shadow battle. It's like something that you wouldn't see in court, something that you wouldn't see playing out on the street. It's not something that's talked about, you know, in the press. It's like there's been something very dark that she's been battling, and it feels like an external force. So it's a really strange one. It feels like she has been battling a force that has led to this accident, and this force now feels victorious, because this card is about victory, and this is about the people and the environment around this, which is this devil guy here. So it's like saying this dark force has won at the moment, and Virginia is in a position of having very, very few opportunities open to her. I'm going to look at her hopes and fears. I'm going to put a clarifier down. I have the card, the Chariot. I'm going to place a card down on the Chariot. And another. Right, so I've got 3 cards now. So my Chariot is my initial card, and this is hopes and fears. So literally, the Chariot can mean problems with transport, but that is way too literal for this reading. It feels like when I combine this Chariot with the clarifiers, which is the Knight of Pentacles reversed, it feels like this is giving me an indication of, again, something has happened to the vehicle that she's in. I feel like this Knight of Pentacles has sort of appeared on the scene. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is relatively slow moving. So whereas some knights sort of gallop in really quickly and gallop off, the Knight of Pentacles takes his time to move on. So it feels like this person has been in the peripheral vision of Virginia. So he's been in the background, and he's slowly worked himself into a position of trust near her. And then it's almost like, has he tampered with this vehicle? Has there been something done to this car in order for it to fail in this way? And who is this person? And what is his association with this dark force that Virginia's been battling with? Now, the other card that came out with my set of 3 here is the Page of Cups reversed. Now, this again can be a suitor. So tying this in with these 2 other cards, I'm going to say that there is a knight that's been circling Virginia who might have presented himself as an emotional interest. So it's suggesting to me that Virginia was led astray a little bit by somebody who claimed to have a romantic interest in her, who was trying to get close to her to really commit nefarious acts, to be fair. But I think that she was weakened and she was put in this position because she was turned upside down by something that affected her materialistically. So her finances were shaky. She potentially was at a stage in life where she was going to lose material things. And this is coming from, she'd always been in a place of strength and gentle strength, and all of a sudden that's turned on its head. Now, it feels to me like she might have been manipulated by this suitor, we'll call him. I'm going to say him, although a page can be male or female. But it feels like this person had a great part to play in the dark force and a great part to play in this deceit. And this is the deceit. We've got 2 knights now around her, both of which are coming out in a negative. So both are reversed, and one is for money and one is for love. So it feels like there's that real sense of Virginia had somebody who was not working in her best interests, and who potentially and quite horribly seems to have presented himself as like a knight in shining armor, like somebody that was going to sort out her emotionally. She might have felt like a new lease of life, almost like she was falling for somebody again. And then it's almost like as well they felt like they were financially secure, so they could take care of her in that way. And I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying that. I'm sure that she probably had a lot of money left from the settlement, but then that's not always the case. It was like 2022 or something, wasn't it, when she did get quite a lot of money. But that is not to say that she hasn't spent it either, or it could just be that she's struggling with something to do with that money. It might not necessarily mean that it's all just drained. Perhaps she's invested it wrong, but there is that feeling that this person has chipped away in using the emotions and using this financial lure is the word. Lure or lure? How do you pronounce that? This financial lure, I'm going to say. So the dark forces seem to have won at the moment. And when I look at the outcome card, I'm just keeping these all straight here because I'm going to photograph them for you so you can look afterwards, and then you'll know that I'm not just making this up. I'm not. What would be the point? The outcome card is interesting, and it's the Fool. So this is the outcome for this particular situation. And the Fool is a card with a number 0. And it's also the card of new beginnings. I'm going to take a clarifier on that. So I'm pulling another card out. I'm going to have another one as well. All right. So we had the Fool, and then I've pulled the World reversed and the 5 of Wands reversed. So the World and the Fool are interesting cards because the Fool is 0, the World is the last card. It's the 21st. Yeah, 21st. I want to say 22nd, but it's not because we start at 0. The 21st card, this is the end of the cycle. This is the beginning of the cycle. So these are very poignant cards to come out in an outcome, because it's almost like saying the events that are unfolding are going to finish a cycle of something. And that will be, it's almost like in a negative way. So the journey that started off hopefully has ended quite unpleasantly. And I have to say that this card, the 5 of Wands, isn't really a great card either, because it's talking about It's talking about competition, but it's also talking about struggling and losing a battle. And when we've got I'm running out of hands here, when we had the dark forces associated with winning the battle that was brought about by this knight suitor person, then to then have losing the battle in the outcome and a cycle starting and completing, it's not looking good from what I can see. And I really hope this isn't the case, and this isn't what I expected to see at all. But I'm feeling there has been some dark forces at work here, and I feel that this crash is real and those bruises are real, but it feels like Virginia walked into this. She was tricked into something, and this has come about. This has been engineered by this person here. This has been engineered by this dishonest knight who's presented to her along the lines of an emotional support and perhaps a financial support or advisor or something like that. And it's led her to a really precarious place. It looks like she has few opportunities left. And then I return to the middle cards again, which are the Three of Pentacles reversed and the Death card. And the Three of Pentacles, it's about learning. It can also be ignorance, and it can also be failing to learn. And it feels like perhaps this final, beginning and final, because the start of a cycle is the end of a cycle. So it feels like it's telling us that the lessons haven't been learned, and there's this sense of death around this. Now, I always say the Death card isn't necessarily a physical death. It can be the end, and it very often, very, very often is the end of a cycle, which would make sense, seeing as we have the Fool and the World reversed coming out as the outcome here, and then we've got another cycle card coming into that beginning as well. So we could interpret this to mean that whatever's happened is at the end of a cycle. But again, for me, I'm reading this as quite a dark omen, to be honest. And I think that if Virginia manages to pull through this, I think, and I really, really hope to God and pray that she does, I think that lessons will be learned, and I think there's going to be some stuff that's uncovered, because what death does as well is that the lessons that should be learned are often uncovered when that Death card is removed there. So it feels like this catastrophic situation for Virginia, if she can pull herself through it, then there will be a lot more revealed about what's happened in this case. Poor lass, this is like much, much worse than I'd anticipated. Not very positive at all, I'm afraid. Remember that everything I say is not my opinion. I'm simply reading the cards. If you were to go and get a tarot book, then you could look up some of the meanings, and you'll see that I am reading the cards using traditional meanings. I do use some intuition to weave the narrative between the cards, which is where your skill in as a reader is. But you'll be able to see that I'm not just making this up to sort of fit the case. It's not my opinion, it is my interpretation. This reading has been for entertainment purposes only. I'd love to know what you think about that, or perhaps you've got another way of interpreting that. Perhaps you would see those cards in a different light. I will put the photograph up on the screen so you can have a look at them. But yeah, very interesting. I think I'm going to come back to this and sort of delve a little bit deeper. So if you'd like to see that, if you'd like to see some more on this topic, then do let me know. Or if you've got any other topics that you'd like me to take a tarot dive into, then let me know and I'll have a look and see what I can find out. Have a fabulous day ahead and stay weird.